Hello, trading is closed on May 9th, 2024. We'll do our disclaimer, go over our calls, make some predictions. I'm going to start out by saying I have personal business today and did not have much time to analyze and don't plan to take any position myself or risk my own money until I see what happens tomorrow morning. It's my plan for tomorrow. I'm not risking any of my own money on this yet. I just haven't had enough time to do my analysis. I'll tell you what I came up with. We look for the pattern with the early low, which is this. Tomorrow should have the early high. We get to cross an old target off the list, 51.95.12. I think that would have been a logical place for this rally to stop because of all the resistance that we showed. We continued past it, generated a number of lower targets, 52.01.88, 51.90, 7.15, and ultimately 51.89.72. If those work, we're going to drop pretty much from the open, but that doesn't mean they're going to work. About twice a year, I get a cluster of targets that don't print within their preferred time frame. When I see this many print, I'm suspicious. This might be one of those times. We said we had strong resistance. If we maintained a gap over it, it takes us higher. We didn't gap over it, and without the gap, I'm suspicious of today's move. I'm not suspicious enough to risk any money yet, but I'm suspicious. We said failing at resistance takes us lower. That didn't happen either. We thought we'd have a pretty big move. I don't consider that big enough for me. Now, we got the first thing yesterday, or today. Yesterday we got the gap and prompt move. We didn't have to get anything else. But once we closed little change yesterday, even though you don't have to get the second most common in addition to the first, you almost always do. So I'm kind of suspicious of what's going on because that's not what usually happens. We got an ultimate sell signal which hasn't played out yet. We got an optional higher target that worked, and we got this false move here. This is the weekly chart, and unless we collapse tomorrow, it'll be bar 12 out of 13 of DeMarc's sequential sell signal. Bar 13 can't finish early, so all we have to do is piddle around for Friday and Monday, and we'll get his bar 13 of its sequential sell. These things don't always work, and they've been, like this one didn't work at all, and they've been far more impressive at picking lows than at picking tops, but I'll just tell you that that'll probably trigger next week. Well, we're still right at this 2x1 Gann fan line. It's still off by just a few points. If we're going to break through, I really like to see us gap up. And until we gap up over that line, the rally is suspicious. This is looking more and more like an impulse here. It could be wave 3, or it could be A of B. It is possible to count 5 waves up. If that's 1, 3 is it? Well, it's better than that actually. Three is right at 78.6. 5 is right at 38.2, so if we do drop from here, and I'm suspicious of this move, you can count it, but I'm not suspicious enough to risk any money at this time. I want to see it reverse first, if it even happens. Friday's pattern has the early high regardless of where we open. Typically it's a rally day with a final lower high. Failure is a straight line drop. We have multiple lower MEJT targets. Thus we gap up smartly. The rules call for them to print. About twice each year, I get a cluster of targets that don't print within their preferred time frames, even though they do print at some time. I'm suspicious this might be one of those times. We're at resistance from again fan line. There's a count which has this as 5 waves up. If the rally is to continue, it would be ideal if we gapped up smartly Friday. We gap up smartly Friday, I think all we have to do is hold it, maintain it, and you overcome very strong resistance. But it hasn't happened yet. May 18th is Carol Ann's F15 from May 20th, 2022. If the date works, there's a 3-day leeway. Next week is quite likely to print bar 13, the final bar of a weekly sequential sell signal. So if we just piddle around here for a few more days, even if we just do unchanged, the time is going to work for a top. Doesn't mean it is a top, just means it's compatible with one. I have personal business tonight. I haven't had much time to analyze. In spite of the lower targets, resistance, and waves count, I'm not taking a position tomorrow till I see how the morning plays out. This is just not as clear as I would like. It's a pattern with the early high. Usually it's a rally. Failure is a straight line drop. We could be close in terms of time and price to a top, but until I see it reverse, I'm not risking my money, and that's today's call.